It is Bill Bekunda with you this morning again to talk about mental health. And I usually dive straight into it. Today, I have a guest. We usually have men on the show. Not always do we have females. But today we have a lady, and we've had some other ladies before, and they seem to capture a lot more attention. But it is true that women are most silent about their problems when it comes to a wide exposure. But they are very good at discussing their problems amongst themselves. You see, for men, it is easier to come out in the open, but not to discuss it amongst themselves. And those are the differences we see between men and women in most cases. But yeah, not to talk too much. Welcome to Mind Matters again.
Mind Matters, the weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda on Stream UT Radio. Your life, your music.
And I'm going to let my guest introduce herself and tell us about who she is, why she's here, and what she is doing. You're most welcome.
My name is Isabella Kankunda Sabune. I am a recovering alcoholic.
Okay.
I'm nearly 2 years sober. I'll be 2 years sober December 19th. I'm very excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's where we clap our hands.
Yes, everyone should be clapping on the show. Woo. It is not an easy journey. It's not an easy thing, but it is a worthwhile thing.
Yes.
And yeah, so I'm doing, what do I do with myself now? After 11 years in tourism, corporate tourism, I decided to step away from that and try to do my own business. Well, not my own business. Me and my sister have had a daycare nursery school in Bunga called Komuka for the last 2 years.
Komuka.
Yes, Komuka.
Is that in Runyankore?
Yes. It means, feel at home, be at home,
yes.
Right, at home. And that's what we want because it's not a big enterprise. It's meant to be intimate, small, child focused. So we don't have big numbers intentionally.
Okay.
But for 2 years, both of us were extremely busy. And we weren't running it. So when the project I was working on ended last year,
yes,
I decided instead of trying to join the rat race again, let me see if this thing can work.
Okay.
It also coincided with a year after going into rehab for the alcoholism.
Yes.
And I wanted very much to focus on getting this story out, on building awareness, on letting my story help people.
Yes.
And of course, that requires that you're a bit flexible. So it works out well that I am doing the school. I'm the director of operations. I don't have any teaching background.
Okay.
And I do this. I've been doing podcasts. I've been doing, what do you call them? Guest appearances like this one.
Yes.
But I'm also at the final stage of getting my degree in a Master of Science in Psychology.
Oh, wonderful.
And as well as the specialized certification for addiction and recovery. So by this time next year, I'll be a fully fledged addiction and recovery therapist.
You're
licensed.
On a roll.
Yes.
Now, these are the people we need. I mean, this is very encouraging, actually. I wish I could rewind and replay, but we shall have that as well. So, Isabella, tell me, you have mentioned you suffered from a substance use disorder.
Yeah.
And you actually mentioned the substance use disorder directly as an alcohol.
Yes.
Like being an alcoholic.
Yes.
That's rare. Not everybody. People want to disguise it and say,
I had a drinking problem.
Yes.
No.
How come you're so direct?
Because you know this, accountability is the first thing.
I know, but people out there probably don't understand.
Accountability for substance abuse of any kind, for addiction of any kind, actually, not just substance abuse. The first thing you have to do in order to enter the recovery stage is to be accountable, is to accept that you have a problem.
True.
So I own it. I say I am a recovering alcoholic. I was an alcoholic. I was suffering from alcoholism because if I don't, I'm lying to myself. I'm lying to everyone else, but most importantly, myself.
Yes.
If I'm lying to myself, I am at risk every day, every minute I'm lying to myself of a relapse, of going back into abusing the substance, which for me was alcohol.
Yes.
For a large part. I mean, by the end, because your tolerance grows so high, and what I was using the substance to help me with, in quotation marks, help me, all those negative, horrible feelings, I needed more to numb now. So by the end, by 2023 December, when I went to rehab, I was also abusing prescription medication.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you and I don't mind calling you an alcoholic now.
Yeah.
So we shall roll with that. But for purposes of people understanding, what is an alcoholic or what is an alcohol use disorder?
So from my understanding, I say this
In
from
your
my
words,
yeah,
because and keep it as simple as possible. We don't want
Yes.
the master level.
No.
explanations. Yes.
In my own words, in my opinion, an alcoholic is somebody who has become fully dependent to go through their everyday life by using alcohol, by drinking. So if you cannot do anything anymore, including waking up in the morning and taking a shower without drinking, if it is consuming and controlling your entire life, then it is an alcoholism problem. It is a substance abuse problem.
Yes, definitely. When you become dependent on it for not everything sometimes, but for particular actions. For instance, if you can't sleep without it, then you're dependent on it. To sleep. If you can't be happy without it.
Yes.
You know, there are people who can't go for Kwanjula without that kaboto in the pocket.
Yes. Yes. I mean, for me, it was everything. I couldn't actually sleep. It never helped me with sleep. Let me not even lie. For me, alcohol didn't actually help me sleep.
So what would you do to sleep?
That is how I got into abusing prescription meds.
Let me not make you jump. Let's go back, because this must have started somewhere.
Yes.
People don't understand. And I'll start by talking from my angle. My father was a pediatrician, a doctor. My mother was a banker. And they were fairly well-to-do. I mean, they could pay my fees. I never had delays and all that. We had a nice home. We had cars. I mean, everything was good.
Yeah.
And then they wonder, but how can you end up being like this? What happened?
Yeah.
So I want to know your childhood so that it can start explaining how you got to this.
Yeah.
What are your first memories of childhood?
So
the earliest.
You know, it's so, and I guess this is indeed how I got into this, because it explains the things I've dealt with, right? The thing that we call childhood trauma. My earliest memories of childhood, being afraid of my mom.
Okay.
So very similar to you, I come from, I will call it a privileged background. I was raised by my mother, even if my father is alive and well. Just that's how it worked out.
Okay.
But she was in a good job. She had means, and I never lacked anything. If anything, I was more than unlacking. I had too much.
Had more than you needed.
Yes, I had more than I needed. I can't complain, and I was privileged. My life was what I had in my life was great.
Yes.
But my mom, because of being overwhelmed herself, because of having to take care of everybody and everything, and taking on the roles of both mother, father, sister, everything, to more than just me and my sister. We're two, but she had her siblings as well. Was constantly stressed, was constantly angry.
Yes.
And I think it was resentment for what she had to do, everything on her shoulders. I understand that now in hindsight.
Yes.
However, my earliest memories of being scared of my mom, of getting so attuned to hearing her car coming down the road, not even the driveway. I could tell my mom's engine from the corner of the road we lived on.
Okay.
And we all knew that once she's coming home, you must get busy. So even if the house is clean, people are removing dishes from the cupboard to wash them again.
You're not doing nothing.
You're not doing nothing. She didn't like that. She didn't like finding you doing nothing. And nothing included reading, which I liked.
Oh.
So if she found me reading, she would get angry, yell. Privileged as we were, my mother was a disciplinarian, we called her commander in the house, not mom. She was commander, because that there was nothing like telling you off, or there was beatings, you get a hot slap for reading instead of doing something.
Yes.
So I remember being afraid of my mom. I remember thinking, if I could just be good enough, if I could just be the most disciplined, most quiet, most basically invisible child.
Yes.
I would never be in trouble. I'd never get beaten, but it never worked. So
work.
I was always hypervigilant. I was always doubting myself. And for me, the way I interpreted all of that was that I was not loved.
Okay.
Like I was a burden to my mother, and perhaps that meant I should never have been born because I was unwanted. Yeah. That's what I felt. It was never said to me, but that's what I felt.
So how many were you?
We were in the house. Me and my sister are two. But growing up, we had at least 3 of my mom's siblings living at home.
Okay.
We had about 4 of her cousins as well from the village living at home. You know that thing of the first one in the family that time to get a job and some money, everyone comes.
They look after the rest.
Yes, everyone comes. So then my grandma was also at home all the time. And you would think that would make for a happy, kind of warm household and childhood. But instead, with the rest of the people at home, I was seen as the spoilt brat because I was the younger one.
Okay.
Small things like they make juice and then they say that juice is for, my nickname at home is Makazi. The juice is for Makazi.
Yes.
Then I'm being beaten for the juice is for me. I'm not the one who made the rule. Like, I would like everyone to have the juice. But then, so I was afraid of everyone at home. I was the youngest by many years. My sister was the second youngest and she's 11 years older than me.
Oh.
So I was literally the youngest. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
and when you talk about being young, last week we hosted Pablo.
Yeah.
He was on in your seat.
Yeah.
And he said that he got into trouble when he drank, when he ate bananas for the last born. It is evident that the last born, there is something about a last born.
Yeah.
Though I'm not a last born, I'm a third born, I'm somewhere in the middle. And so we shall see and compare, how you ended up getting a problem, how, other people get problems.
Yeah.
So here you are in this confusion.
Yeah.
You don't understand, you're blaming things on yourself. How was school?
So school was, apart from my perfectionist mentality.
Tendencies.
Yes. Again, I carried that whole, if I'm just good enough, right? Like I must be the perfect child.
Yes.
So I'd spiral, even from a young age. I remember spiraling for coming second in class instead of first. And honestly, like who spirals for coming number 2, right? But I did. But I had a lot of social anxiety from a young age. I didn't know that's what it was at that time. I also didn't know that I was actually an introvert. I didn't know that I was dealing with, ADHD that got diagnosed decades later. But I had a hard time making friends. I had a hard time making good friends. I would make friends to fit in, but then I never felt like I fit in. Ever. Like I would do everything. I would look at, how others are doing things, how they're interacting, and I'd think, okay, let me copy their behavior. And then I would struggle because it's not natural to me.
Yes.
So I struggled to have friends. I had a few friends. I had like maybe 3 or 4, I remember in primary school, and we were actually very good friends. But then what then happened was I started moving schools, and not because I was failing or anything. My mom just, the next best school comes along and she's like, okay, now you're moving from here to here.
Or should move with the trend.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was in Kampala kindergarten. I think that was the only constant school I was in. But then after that, I went to Lohana, then I went to Kampala Parents, then I moved to Kenya. So I just started moving around, and then keeping good friendships became hard.
Okay.
And it meant that in school I was heavily bullied because I had no self-esteem. So I was heavily bullied. I was a people pleaser because I thought that would help me fit in. Okay. So I'd do everything for everyone else. I would be the kid who, I was the child who I would let you copy from me in exams because I thought that would make you my friend.
Okay.
So I went through school with low self-esteem, with people-pleasing mentalities, with needing so much validation from everybody, and just never feeling like I fit in.
That already sounds difficult.
Yeah.
Because I think it was low self-esteem as well, but what I knew is I had anxiety.
Yeah.
And I used to hide my anxiety in lashing out.
Yeah.
So I became a bully in primary school. But that was not because I felt I wanted it, but every time I felt fear and I started getting the shakes and the sweating, I turned it into anger, and I had to do something so that people don't say I'm scared.
Yeah.
They look at me as the big boy in the building. How did you deal with that low self-esteem
I think
at that age?
honestly, for me, it always reflected in doing more than I needed to do.
Okay.
Like I became an overachiever, but not because I wanted to be achieving those things. So
Yes.
when I felt
So you
lost,
spend a lot of time reading.
yes,
Okay.
I would spend a lot of time reading. I'd make sure my homework is perfect. I mean, I don't even know if it, like, I was chasing perfection where there's no such thing, right? I
Yes.
know that now.
True.
But then I was dealing with anxiety by just getting overwhelmed and then trying to do too much, like trying to now overachieve in order to hide that I am anxious and I'm overwhelmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was, by the way, on the surface, I think I really did come across as a perfect child. I came
Yes.
across as a very good student. I came across as someone who had friends, but no one understood that for me, people who thought we were friends and I was in their group, I was permanently anxious. I was literally always scared they would discover that I don't fit in and then they would abandon me. So I had
Yes.
serious abandonment issues as well. So I turned that into, I was the friend who went over and above for friends. Like, those things of you're giving gifts at Christmas to friends, even in school.
Yes.
People bring like a pencil, a pen. I am going over and above. I'm bringing the whole set. I'm bringing a pencil case. I'm bringing because I want you to feel like I'm the best friend you have so that you don't realize that I'm scared of losing you. Then in class, I am so scared of failing that from a young age, I remember not sleeping much. I developed insomnia at 13 because I was always afraid that I would do badly in class if I didn't read enough, if I didn't study enough. So I was the kid in class who paid attention, who tried to answer all the questions, who cleaned up after everyone was left, who offered to do like weekend activities with the teachers because, I have to prove I'm a good student. I'm the best student.
Oh, that sounds difficult. We're going to have
www.streamugradio.com. Masao, the afternoon breeze. Corner.
Yes, I am with Isabella, and I'm seeing already some similarities in what was happening, although I slightly differently. I mean, I was always distracted in class. I had to force myself to pay attention, and I never read. The one thing I would do is what I didn't get in class, that was it. After that, I would go and play. But you have mentioned what you have talked about shows that there's been a lot of anxiety involved, and so anxiety is also comes out in different ways. So we can see where the problems were beginning to develop from. So now you finish primary school, you are the best in the country, or almost? No. You didn't achieve that?
I didn't achieve that.
Okay. You are in the international?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I moved around school so much. I ended up I don't know, I ended up at a place where I was good in the class. I got very good grades, but I
Yes.
didn't come top of the class eventually.
Okay.
And by the way, that broke my heart as well.
It demoralized you.
Yes, because when I left Kampala, when I left Uganda, I was in Kampala Parents.
Okay.
Right. By the way, in the beginning, people look at me and say I'm lying about my age, and that's a compliment.
You want to tell us?
Yeah, okay. I'm 36.
Okay.
Yes, and everyone
You
is
don't look it. They are right.
everyone's like at least 30. Like, stop lying. But I'm
No, even
36.
30 doesn't.
So I was among the first in the Kampala Parents when it broke off from City Parents. Can you
Okay.
imagine? But I was such a good student. Like, I was on track to be, by the way, among the top in the country.
Yes.
I was on track to be prefect. I was on track to be, I was actually on track to be head girl of Kampala Parents at that time. And then I moved to an international school. I moved to Turi, which when I say that, everyone's like, oh, Turi, what? Oh my God.
You know?
Because the Turi of now
Run the
is
kids
like,
now. It's not the same.
no, the Turi of that time, it was still an international school. It was still a very good school. But the Turi I see now is like, I don't know, it's like a palace. It's like you're going to school in Buckingham Palace. It's crazy.
Changed.
Things have changed.
Yes.
But yes, it was still a privileged school. I was still in Turi, and I acknowledge that. But that change, first of all, in the last 2 years of primary school meant that I was changing from the national curriculum here to a
Yes.
British curriculum that I didn't understand.
Okay.
So I had to catch up with that. Then changing the environment, changing all of that stuff. It meant that I did well. I got very good grades. I didn't get below a B. I got mostly A's as well.
Okay.
For my end of primary exams. But of course, I didn't come top of the school. I didn't come top of the country.
You didn't get
international
what
school.
you wanted.
Yeah, I didn't get what I wanted, which is what I'd been working towards my whole
But you
life.
had still performed well.
But I'd still performed well. But in my mind, imagine now I know, I'm like, man, I got almost all A's. I think I got like 2 B's. And this was in, I think, out of 9 subjects or 10 subjects. So I did very well.
Okay.
But in my mind, I was like, but I didn't come top of the country. I didn't come top of the class.
Get it.
You know, so I didn't acknowledge that achievement. I saw it actually as a loss.
Okay. So during this time, did you ever have feelings of you want to rebel or anything, or it was just purely innocent?
I don't even know if it was innocent. I couldn't rebel. I was so afraid of not being the perfect child.
That was all.
That was all I was striving towards. Rebellion didn't enter my head.
Okay.
Honestly, until the end of S4. But for us, not S4, the end of high school.
Okay. The equivalent of S4.
No, equivalent of S6 actually.
Of S6.
Yeah, but
You were
until
clean,
then, I was
good
the
student.
best student. Even in that school which I joined, 2 years to the end of primary, I couldn't be a prefect because I hadn't been there that long, but they created a whole thing called a good citizen for some of us who are like not enough to be prefect, but too good to remain regular students.
Oh.
So you got some responsibility, but not as much as, and not as many as prefects and not as many benefits.
Yes.
But when I now transitioned to high school, because I started high school with the rest of the students, so went through the O levels. By the end of the O levels, I had been voted to be the head girl.
Okay.
Then again, I told you I changed schools a lot.
Yes.
So again, at the end of my S4, my mom decides she wants to send me to another school in Switzerland. And, I reminded her because she kept saying, I remember you're the one who decided. I'm like, where would I have known a school in Switzerland? Where? After, first of all, I've gotten voted in as head girl. Where? So I
you
was
didn't
like,
want to go to Switzerland?
I didn't want, but I could not rebel. I was not a rebellious child.
I was a rare
was
child.
because I had worked so hard again and finally achieved the things I'd worked for. So I was like, okay, so this time I'm going to get them. But of course, I didn't rebel. I was not a rebellious child, right?
Yes.
So I couldn't tell my mom, listen, I can't miss this again. So you can't move me. So when she said, you're going, I said, fine. Unfortunately for me, I said bye to everyone. Like I was leaving, even had a leaving party. But then in the holidays, we realized that I would have to go back a year because the school she wanted me to go to taught in French.
Okay.
I didn't speak French. I didn't know French. So I'd have to do a year of French. And she was like, that's now you're missing out on years. So you're going to go back.
Oh.
After I'd signed out. So we contact the school. We're like, can I still be head girl? Because I cried. Like that time I remember I broke down and I finally cried and I said, I had achieved this. I don't know if I can still have it. And now, I'm going back. Like apart from the embarrassment of saying bye to all my friends and then having to go back.
And you're not the head prefect.
And I'm not even the head girl. So, and the school, was like, we'll give you deputy, but we can't make you head girl because we went through a whole procedure. You even nominated who is now the elected head girl.
Yes.
So we can't just take it away from her because you've decided to come back. So you'll be deputy. She was a very good friend. So she actually, I did all the duties of a head girl. I had all the benefits of a head girl, but I was deputy head girl.
Okay.
But yeah, I was that child who was still striving for
Basically,
perfection.
we can say that was some kind of trauma.
It was trauma. It was because I had really worked hard for this. Really worked hard.
You see, when some people listen to this, they don't understand that can be trauma.
Yeah.
People call trauma losing someone, getting into an accident.
Yes. Or growing up with extreme hardship, right?
Exactly.
And it's like for a child at that age, for me, it was trauma for me. That was a loss.
Yes.
I worked very hard to get there. I was still a top student. That took dedication in my studies. I was still the most helpful in the community outreach and programs. That took, again, dedication on my part.
Yes.
I was also liked by the student body because this was a student body election. The teachers decide as well, but the majority vote from the student body is what gets you into that position. So I had worked to become the most, again, this is striving for perfection and
yes.
people pleasing. But I had worked for 3 years to be the most popular student, to be voted head girl. So it was a lot of dedication.
Do we see that now, when you look back, do you see that there was a developing a depression?
Oh, yeah.
When you look at it, were you depressed then?
Yeah, I definitely can see that I had started developing symptoms of depression. I didn't understand them.
Yes.
I remember even telling my friends that I didn't understand why I was always so sad. Like, what did I have to be sad about?
Okay.
Right? Because I acknowledged the privilege I was in and I didn't understand. I also didn't understand or couldn't name extreme anxiety. So I used to have panic attacks, like literally sweat and faint kind of panic attacks. And I didn't understand what that was. So I labeled it as me being too soft, too sensitive, too, like there's something wrong with you because why are you like this? I also started developing extreme habit formation at that time. Actually, it's the first time you've taken my mind there and through this journey that I've now realized. I developed an eating disorder at about, I think I was 15. I started doing extremes of trying to control. So those things of, again, that come into addiction, right?
Yes.
Of trying to control everything and then realizing when it fails, you spiral. So I started trying to control something in my life because I didn't feel like I was controlling anything else. At that time, we'd just gone back. I wasn't the head girl. I was a bit lost. I felt I was dealing with a lot of embarrassment for having said bye to everyone and then coming back. And children are also not very nice. So of course there was a lot of people reminding me of how I had said bye, even if I didn't want to say bye, right?
But you're children,
So I developed an eating disorder. And it got so bad they had to call my mom.
Yes.
And I had to, for about a month, attend meal times with a nurse.
Okay.
Because I just stopped eating. I just stopped eating one day and I didn't pick it up again for a very long time. And then I was also doing extreme sport. So I was on every team and then I also ran 6 kilometers a day.
Yeah. Wow.
So I wasn't eating and then I was over exercising.
Okay.
Yeah. So it became a problem. I didn't realize it at the time that's where the bad coping mechanisms started for me. Yeah.
So now even you could realize that things were changing.
Yeah.
Had you had any experience at that time with drinking?
No. I will say,
any other medications to help you?
No, nothing.
You were ignorant about them completely?
I wasn't ignorant.
Okay.
I'll say this now, and I don't know if that's going to make the school look some type of way, but even in my time, I don't know about now, it was very easy to get alcohol into our school.
Okay.
People had big brothers, sisters, cousins. They brought it in during visitations. So people were drinking. On campus. They were drinking on weekends. They were drinking in socializing time. So we had maybe once every 2 weeks, we'd have this big movie night for the whole school that was run by prefects. So guys would go and leave and go drinking and stuff.
Yes.
But at that time, I was still not trying to be rebellious. I was still trying to be the perfect child. In every sense, I was also trying to be the perfect student.
So that's what prevented you from using...
Yes.
From joining the group.
Yeah. So I enabled people, but I didn't partake because I wanted to be liked. So when guys were leaving and I'd be in charge, I would let them. And I was in charge a lot because the teachers trusted me. So I'd gained that trust from them, but I also wanted the students to like me. I wanted to be liked by everyone, right?
Yes.
That whole over people pleasing thing and needing validation. So I'd let them. I'd open the doors and they'd go and they'd have the drinks.
So at the time, you were those girls who were looked at as the perfect girl.
As a goody two shoes, yes.
The Barbie.
As a goody two shoes, as
Barbie the doll.
As a teacher's pet, I was
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it did seem to last for long. No. So you managed to go through to university?
No. I discovered alcohol. So that was till O-level in theory, right?
How old were you?
Yeah. So I left when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I left when I was 16. Then joined another school yet again for my A-levels. And there, on my first night after orientation, again, wanting friends, this girl who had decided to befriend me during orientation, says to me, "Oh, let's go. There's a small gathering of people. You'll meet more people. Let's go." So I'm like, "Of course, I want friends, right?"
Yes.
So I go with her, and we go to this place, and there's booze, there's drinks, there's alcohol, there's cigarettes, and people are drinking and they're smoking. And she's like, and I first say no, but then she's like, no, come on, everyone's doing it. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is how I make friends. These are going to be my friends. These are the ones that have shown interest in me.
Yeah.
So I can't be this person. I have to fit in.
You were 16.
I have to fit in. I was 16. I was 16 going on 17 because school terms used to start in September, and that's my birthday. And she hands me a drink and she hands me a cigarette, and I do both. And the funny thing is, no one believes this, but I hadn't smoked a day in my life until then, but I didn't choke or gag or anything.
Really?
Yeah. And when they all say that, they said, "Oh, you must be a natural smoker," as if that's a thing, right?
Yes, it was.
I think, oh yeah, that's a.
Do you know what it took me to smoke? I had to go and practice.
No, not me. I took it up right there, and then I didn't like it though, so I didn't really take it up then.
Okay.
I just, it was more of a social thing. Like when there were too many people doing it, I felt I had to as well. I didn't take it up then. And then, but the drinking, that one, first drink like this, oof.
You know.
I was like, this thing is the thing.
I know, but you know, I have a 16-year-old daughter. And when you are sharing this part, it actually has made me feel sad. Like I look at her, you know, okay, we say children hide a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's up to anything yet.
Yeah.
And I pray she doesn't.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that peer influence. That was actually both influence and pressure.
Yeah.
You want to fit in.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, everybody does it.
Yeah.
And you're like, let me do it.
Yeah.
And then you immediately caught on.
Yeah, immediately. Like I remember those feelings of I want to fit in, the social anxiety that I didn't know that's what it was at that time.
Yes.
I remember it going away after the first drink. And I remember becoming the life of the party right there and then.
Right there and then.
Yes.
You know, it's very interesting. And I've heard this from so many people who have developed a problem eventually. And they usually say that from the moment they started, one, they knew they wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
And second, they were finally accepted.
Yeah.
Or they finally felt a part of the crowd.
Yeah.
But 16-year-olds, to all parents who are listening right now, and for those who are not listening, please tell a friend to tell a friend who's got a parent, who's got a child, especially now, to listen in. Because all children will become teenagers anyway.
Yeah.
And for those who have reached this stage, you may need to understand this a little bit more. You know, it's a little bit more emotional when it's a female.
Yeah.
Because, you know, especially culturally, you know, our females are protected.
Yeah.
So you started now.
Yeah.
At 16.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to rub it in for people to listen.
Yeah. I started
innocently,
at 16. Yeah.
not because you had bad manners.
No.
You are the best student.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah. I did very well in my O-level exams.
Yes.
I got in on extreme merit. There was no school I applied to I didn't get in. Like I was a good student. My mom dropped me at school, set me up in the dorm, and left. And I had every intention of continuing the way I'd started, or
so
the way
now
I'd
you've
come.
started.
But I started.
Let's take it on from there.
Yeah, so I started, and again, it was so easy to get the alcohol. People had fake IDs. I didn't know that was a thing at the time, but everyone had fake IDs and they were buying the alcohol. And
where were you?
I was in the UK.
In the UK now.
So yeah, I was in the UK now, and they have a drinking age, and they do card you when you look young. They ask you for your ID.
Yes.
So guys had IDs that showed they were 18, right? We're 16 to 18. Get a fake ID at 18. It's believable.
Yes.
Because that's just a 2-year difference. So people were bringing in alcohol, and on weekends, we were free to roam. Our school was in a town, in a small town called Cheltenham in the United Kingdom, and it was like our dorms were they were part of houses on the road.
Yes.
So there was no one controlling you on the weekend. Like you go to town, You go to the parks, you go wherever you want.
Yeah, but at 16 in the UK, it's usually, let's take a short break. We need to get to this man.
www.streamugradio.com
Kankunda with Isabella, Kankunda, Sabune. I've been wondering what the name Sabune means.
Honestly, like guys, I think it's just soap in a bougie way. It's my dad's name. He's a Munyaranda. I asked him, and he said, actually, yeah, it means soap, but there's,
I thought soap is sabuni.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, he also said it could mean like pure and cleanliness and things like that.
Yeah, it has a good tone to it.
Yeah.
Right. So here we are. I'm trying to distract from this good girl who has now turned.
Who's on her way.
Bad.
Yeah, but who was on her? Yeah, I wasn't bad, but I discovered
You had discovered a new way of life.
Yeah.
A new way of living.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. So you are in the UK, your parents are far away.
Yeah.
You're enjoying life now.
Yeah.
Or so we call it.
Enjoying. Yeah. Yeah.
What starts to happen?
Honestly, at that point, not much. We only did it on weekends. Again, I grew up with. I've talked about my mom, so her voice was always in my head, and she assured me, 12 ways to Sunday, as the saying goes, about listen, I'm giving you the opportunity to go to these schools, but do not be under any delusion that I won't yank you out if your grades fail, because this is my hard-earned money that I'm paying for you. Don't look at the kids around you who come from, just swimming pools of money, and you think, oh yeah, me too, because I'm here. She was like, you are here to get a leg up in life, to get, this education, but you must maintain your grades. The day they're sleeping, you're out. So
it was all about
So for me, it was still, for her, it was education.
Okay.
It was never about, trying to, I don't even know what else it would be about, but like for her and for me, I was in that school to get the grades, to get the education, to have that opportunity. So I didn't let that slip. I was, even in my small rebellion of discovering alcohol, of starting to do that on weekends, I never, ever let it interfere with school, ever.
Okay.
So my grades were up.
Your grades were up.
Always.
So you were balancing between the party and...
Yes.
How bad did it get?
It didn't get that bad.
Okay.
I was very lucky. I had a very good friend who was like my best friend then, who really did not join that crowd. So I tried to maintain more of a friendship with her than with the ones who I'd started with on the first day. So it wasn't all weekends, first of all. And then it never got bad. Like I would check myself.
You made an effort.
I made an effort to check myself because I knew that, I didn't even know what a hangover was actually. I discovered it along the way. But I would see my friends who would be partying like that, struggling through the week in school. Yes. And I was like, listen, I can't be this child. I can't. My mom will kill me. So I never let that slip. It got very, very bad. Very bad. It started getting very bad at the end of school.
Okay.
So after we'd done our A-level exams and finished, one of our classmates threw a party at her house. And by then we were we were not yet of age. We were still 17. We hadn't yet reached 18. But everyone could get booze one way or another. So we all bought alcohol, like bottles. So until that time, I was drinking these, equivalent of Smirnoff Ice, right?
Okay.
But for that weekend, we bought actual booze, like gin, vodka, whiskey, Jägermeister, all these things.
All right.
And never having drunk any of them before, we're there in our dorm, and we're like wild dogs off their leashes.
Okay.
There was no supervision. We were just waiting for closing of school. We had like a good, a month doing nothing. Nothing. Just living in the dorm doing nothing. Okay. So we started drinking that booze before the party. We had to get more for the party because we started drinking, and I remember so clearly trying to get to my room. So we had a basement common room. Then you had to go upstairs to get to the rooms, the floor with the room. So I was trying to go up those stairs. And I was so drunk, I just decided, you know what? I might as well sleep on the stairs for now because I can't make it up the stairs. But my mind had already gotten into the journey of addiction because I think there are so many, I even know there are so many of my fellow colleagues who saw me and decided not to touch another drink, even that weekend. I, on the other hand,
you were a mess.
Sobered up and started drinking again. I went to a party.
You didn't understand it.
I didn't really understand it. It was like, maybe I just drank too much or the wrong thing. I went to a party. I got very drunk as well. Actually escaped from the party and ran back to school because I was very afraid of what was happening. I didn't understand it. And I felt like I was going insane. But again, that didn't stop me. So that's when it started going. Honestly, that's when it should have stopped.
Yes.
But it didn't because I already realized I wasn't drinking like everyone else. Nobody else got as drunk as I did at any of these events.
Do you think that at that time, if you had some education or understanding about that the signs that you are at risk?
Yeah. I think it would have helped. It would have helped if I'd even known that if you're drinking, like if you are drinking problematically in a group of other people who are drinking, there is a sign of risk for addiction. If I had known any of that, if I'd even known what addiction was at that point, I would have made better decisions. Because from all indications up until that point, I was capable of making better decisions.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think if I'd had some sort of awareness.
You know, that makes me think I should look for somebody who reached a certain point when they were starting.
Yeah.
Because young people experiment.
Yeah.
It's one of the things we've studied and research shows that almost every young person will experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some are just lucky or the rules are too like they are too strict at home and they fear. But every young person who gets an opportunity will try because they want to find out from themselves.
Yeah.
Now, there are those who, when they try, they just don't like it, so they survive it because they don't have that brain structure.
Yeah.
But then there are those who, when they try it, they discover the truth that they were telling them that it will mess you up.
Yeah.
And then they decide
to stop. Yeah.
I think I need someone like that. If you know one or we can always engage. But anyhow, so here we are. The signs have already begun.
Yeah.
Let me push you towards the end. Is that also one of the reasons as to why you're trying to educate people about alcoholism? And
because, you know, all through that journey, just like we've just said, for even at that stage of being a teenager, discovering it for the first time.
Yes.
All through, even until I got to rehab, I didn't know anybody that had spoken up about this. I think I knew one person who had struggled with alcoholism, and it was so embarrassing or shameful or hidden that till now they've never talked about it, and I don't think they ever can. But I didn't know other people. I didn't know people who were saying, listen, like loudly saying, I had a problem, I got help, these were the signs, this is what was happening. It's possible to recover. It's not a death sentence. It does not define you. Like, I didn't know any of those people. I didn't know people who were living without shame of this thing. I was
maybe
like, I never had it.
Because you were not interested.
You know, maybe it was. Maybe it was. Maybe
there were a couple of people, or they were not loud enough.
Maybe they weren't loud enough, or they weren't, or I couldn't relate. Or
they were not reaching.
Yeah.
Or you couldn't.
Or I couldn't relate as well, because also, you know, when I think about it from pushing us forward as well, but when I think about it from a female perspective, how many women do you know that are loudly, proudly
when you
saying,
say women, true.
Yes, that are loudly, proudly saying, I had a problem, but it didn't break me.
Yes.
Like, I'm doing better now. I own it. I don't let my past define me. Because women, again, are, you know, from that whole cultural shielding.
Yes.
It's seen as almost worse. Like, you know, when you hear a man is an addict or an alcoholic, you almost brush it off.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but you almost brush it off because in your mind, you don't connect it to what, how, like what has happened. You know, like it can't be, right? For women, you hear it and it's like,
it's a big shock.
Yes, it's a big shock. It's what has happened to that woman is so much more embarrassing. They're judged way, way harsher than men.
True.
It's seen as more shameful. It's seen as a failure for everyone. Like your parents are failures.
Yes.
If you're married, your husband is a failure.
True.
Your children are cursed because how can they have a mother like you?
Yes.
It's so shameful. It's this overwhelming, like, crucifixion. You're literally nailed to the cross for people to throw stones at you. It's not seen as oh, she's also struggling. Oh, this person needs help. Oh, let's not judge. Let's instead help. You're written off.
Yes.
You're written off completely.
Okay. I want to continue this at the top of the hour, but I can't wait. So here you are.
Yeah.
You're a girl. You've started.
Yeah.
You're still performing because your mother. How often would you see her? Would you come for holidays?
Yeah, not often. I had an aunt who still lives in London, so I would go there mostly because of the ticket prices. But I would see her. I'd come for the long holiday, which was
when did she
the
find
summer.
out, or did she find out?
She didn't. I mean, so I did what every kid does. I came back home after my A-levels. Maybe it's not what every kid does. I don't know, but I came back home and it was a long vac, S6 vac. I was now officially of age. Everyone was partying, so we're all partying.
And she was fine with it?
No, she was not fine with it at all. But I think it was more from her strict authoritarian kind of method of parenting more than thinking I had a problem, because everyone was doing it, right? Everyone was doing it. I had a cousin who lived with us for like a month.
Yeah.
She was. I mean, there are nights when she would leave me at home because I was like, okay, I think I need a break and I should go out. So everyone was doing it. All the kids, all the parents were holding fireside chats and commiserating with each other about these children who suddenly seem to have lost their minds, right? Because I wasn't partying with people I didn't know. These were relatives. These were family friends. Like I knew them well, and we were all doing the same thing.
Were you getting episodes of hangovers and stuff?
Oh yeah, but again, I learned to mask. I had already learned how to mask, so
it was still manageable.
Yeah, it was still very manageable.
Okay.
So I knew my mom was super against it, and as long as I got up and did what I had to do, chores at home and stuff, she quarreled, but not so much, right? So I learned how to just push through the hangover, and at that age, at 18. Your hangover is not going to kill you. You're not struggling,
The energy of
you're not struggling.
Yes.
But when I look back, even then I was still drinking more than other people.
Okay.
Like I knew I was consuming more alcohol, but I thought everyone is doing it. So in my head, I justified the drinking. I was just like, I'm clearly more, that thing of I'm more I'm harder. I'm a harder guy than other people.
Yeah, true.
Alcohol doesn't affect me like other people. It's pride. Like, you guys are getting drunk on one Long Island. I can take 3. And I can even add shots of gin. Like, what are you guys doing? You guys are weak.
Hours.
Yeah, like you're the weak person. You're the weak guy. I didn't realize at that point that it was a problem, not a
people still worship
strength.
that kind of, idolize it.
Yes.
Even and this morning, someone told me, man, Bill, I've done... But I haven't blacked since the other day, since Friday.
Yeah. And it is not a badge of honor. Like, this is why so many people are in the struggle. Right? At the time it was. Now in hindsight, I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
It's not a badge of honor. But again, it comes back to why I'm doing this and why I'm saying it. Because guys, it's not a badge of honor. If you're a hard guy, if you can drink 3 times more than anybody else you're with, you have a problem. You're already on your way.
Yes. No, I like the strength in your voice. I like even the ambition you speak with. We really need people like you to make. That's why somebody asked me when we did the poster. Yeah. What did I put on the poster? I usually put a small caption.
Yeah, addiction survivor.
Something loud.
And I don't remember. Sorry, you have to remind me.
Because I'm saying that you have this voice. Because I went through some of your podcasts. Yeah. And I'm like, there is substance here. Yeah. I wanted even to ask you why you put a halt on the podcast. Yeah. But I think you'll tell us that when we come to the part of
the recovery
of reaching out.
Yeah.
So here you are.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say that I'm glad the worst happened to you because now we have you to help us.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yes, but now you are here. Things are going. When did you start realizing that it's worse than you actually think?
At some point after my A-levels, halfway, because I did a gap year unintentionally. I took a year off before starting uni because I decided to go to Australia.
Okay.
So it took a long time to get the visa.
You are globe-trotting.
Man, let me tell you, I just moved and moved and moved. So it ended up being a year at home.
Yes.
And halfway through that year, at some point,
what are you going to do in Australia?
I wanted to go for university in Australia.
Okay.
So I decided to go to university in Australia. So it took me a year to get the visa. It's a long I don't know if that process has changed by that time. It was like you're going to the city of gold. I halfway through the year, or maybe not halfway, but at some point during that year that I was at home, I just kind of realized I was not okay. I was doing too much.
Yes.
So I remember somebody telling me, man, it seems like you're trying to be on a gin diet, because it had gone to a point where all I did was drink gin and tonic, not eat, not like, so I was losing a lot of weight. I looked good because I was also, again, exercising, but I was drinking without any other substance. So I realized, this is not okay. So I took like 3 months off. But again, that was not my worst. My worst happened years later. Well, it happened through uni as well. But again, years later is when it was really, really bad. But at that point, again, I caught myself. And, again, I wish I had had some sort of education or
understanding.
Because that would have been the moment probably that I changed and I stopped that behavior. Because I caught myself and I stopped it for 3 months. Then guys came back on holiday, my friends who had already gone to uni. And I started again, because how do you go out without drinking, right? At that time.
So your friends came back.
Yeah.
Then they're like,
so they're all
calls,
they're all uni people, first of all. So again, I realized that what had happened to me was, it was the same thing happening from before, where I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I felt I didn't fit in. All these guys are at uni now. I'm just still at home. Even if I'm in the process of going there, like it's not that I've failed to go, like it's not like I failed to get into a uni or anything. I was waiting for a visa, but I felt less than at that point. I felt less than. So I drank because I needed that courage. I needed those nerves, that feeling inside to settle, and then to be, to also belong, to fit, to be the life of the party. Whether if you ask anyone who has experienced me in any sort of friendship or acquaintance in my whole life, they're like, but Izzy didn't have a problem. She was always the life of the party. She was always the most happy. She was like, she couldn't possibly have been struggling, not realizing that was the mask. That was the mask I put on to hide the struggle.
The cover up.
Yeah.
Sadly, it is the mask that so many people are put on to cover up, and that is the mask we are trying to unveil.
Yeah.
To make people understand what is actually going on, because developing a substance use disorder does not start because you want it.
Yeah.
I started all the way in senior 2 at the age of 15. And by the time I was in senior 6, all right, we are back to the hard part and the good part. This second hour is usually when it gets really bad, and then we find the solution. You said I heard you mentioning yourself as easy. Oh, yeah. And I was here saying the boring Isabella.
No, I go by any. So friends call me Izzy.
Yes.
IZZY. My family calls me Makazi, which I mentioned earlier. It's a nickname. But I am very happy with Isabella. Like,
all right,
all of it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So Isabella, here we are. You've realized that you can talk about.
No, you know what? So I went to university in Australia, and it was in a small town called Newcastle. I was so far from family. I didn't realize that at the time that would actually affect me. But I failed to make friends. And at that point, I just stopped trying. So I became very lonely, very, very lonely. I turned to drinking and closet drinking, and that means I was drinking at home alone in my dorm room, alone. in order to just have those feelings go away. And Australia was not easy, by the way. The town I was in had a lot of racism, so that wasn't easy either. But I saw a therapist for the first time when I was in Australia because I realized I was really not okay mentally. Like I had done, by then I knew what depression was, and I was very aware that I was depressed. So I saw a therapist. Did you attribute it
to the drinking or?
No, I actually. So in my opinion, what I thought at the time was the drinking was helping the depression.
Oh, exactly.
Right. So I thought, okay. I remember thinking, let me go see a therapist because maybe if I can solve the depression, I won't feel so bad after the drinking, because the drinking would help, and then of course it gets worse. It only makes it worse. It helps for like a millisecond. You numb, and then before you know it, you're worse off. So I thought, let me go see a therapist, because maybe then I'll go back to enjoying the drinking. But at that point, I didn't realize that it had already turned for me.
Yes,
drinking was no longer fun. I was doing it because I needed to numb. I needed to numb my pain myself. And it wasn't because I was enjoying it.
Yes.
Because at some point it seemed like fun, right? But at that point I was aware it was no longer fun. But again, I went through university, I finished, I came back home, and I partied hard.
Did the therapy help in any way?
It did a little bit.
What did you learn from it then?
Honestly, I learned that I had a lot of childhood trauma that I hadn't dealt with. Okay. My issues with my mom.
Yes.
And my low self-esteem and anxiety and all of that. I learned all of that in therapy, but I wasn't willing to confront it and to work through it. Yes. One, I was never going to confront my mom. I looked at a guy like, you are a mad guy. How can you tell me that?
Do you know Uganda? And
yeah, like, do you understand that I'm talking about a woman who she gave me life, she can take it away.
Yeah.
But so I stopped going to him intentionally because I didn't want to face it. And I think that's another thing of, like, in order for the recovery to stick, you actually have to confront what got you there, what got you into addiction. And that's a hard thing. That's a very hard thing.
That's what brings acceptance.
Yes.
In the first place.
Nobody wants to confront their demons, right? So I knew at that point that I wasn't ready to do on any of that. I wasn't ready to confront my mom.
Yes.
I wasn't ready to deal with, low self-esteem, low self-worth, people pleasing. I was like, I think this is going to make my life harder.
Yes.
So I didn't want to. So I thought, you know what, that the alcohol helps. Let me just up the ante. Let me just start drinking more. So I was drinking a lot. I was drinking very heavily in Australia, very heavily. It was not okay. It was not okay. And I knew it even then. Because I was ashamed of how much I was drinking. Was that
your pocket money from mommy, or you had a scholarship?
No. Pocket money stopped working at some point, so I had to get a paid under the table job.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and you're able to balance it with books and your drinking.
Yeah. Somehow, let me tell you, I don't even know how I did that.
High achiever.
Yeah, I was. I actually, yeah. So I managed to do everything. But it affected my health. I came back when I'd put on a lot of weight because I was spending money on alcohol, but not nutritious foods. I was instead buying instant noodles, and that's what I was living on, predominantly because they were cheap. I'd buy them by the box. So my health was also, clearly at that point, I was already affecting my health. Okay. But I came back, and, at this point is when I think the downward journey started.
Did you finish?
I finished.
You graduated?
And I got my degree, yes.
So it went smoothly?
It went smoothly, but the drinking was bad.
Functional.
I was very, I was functional. Then
Okay.
I was functional. And I guess at that point I was a problematic drinker more than full-blown active alcoholism.
Did anybody confront you about your drinking and say, maybe you have a problem?
Yeah, actually. Somebody who is now not... We became friendly. Another Ugandan who came into that town did confront me on 2 occasions and say, you're drinking a bit too much. And I can't hang out with you if this is what you're going to be doing. So if you want to drink like this, please don't invite me over to your house.
And what did you think about it?
And I thought, you don't understand. Like, you don't understand why I have to drink like this.
It's always the other person's
problem. Always the other. Yeah. I was like, you're just being very judgmental. You don't understand what I'm dealing with. You don't understand why I'm drinking.
Yes.
So so fine. If you don't want to come, don't come. And full stop. And she stayed my friend. And we're still friendly. We talk on and off online. Yes. She's still in Australia, but I realized at that point that what I need to do is I need to hide. I think that's when I started knowing that.
Oh, not reduce, but hide.
Yeah, I just need to figure out a way to hide it from people.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I came back, the thing with our town is it's very enabling.
Yes.
For alcoholism.
Yeah, Kampala.
It is very enabling.
Every neighborhood now has become a
nightlife place, right?
Yes. A water hole, we call it.
Yes.
Drinking.
So I didn't have problems finding a group ever to belong to be with that were heavy drinkers.
Okay.
So I realized as long as I can stay functional, I can go to work in the morning after I got a job. I can do whatever I need to do at home because I was still staying with my mom at the time. As long as that is happening,
yes,
I can still go out and drink every night because we're all doing it. That thing of we're all doing it.
Yes.
But I can promise you, even in that we are all doing it, I was drinking more than anybody I was ever hanging out with.
You are top. You are still, like you are top in class.
I was top in class. I was top in class for everything, including alcohol consumption. And people would say, but man, Izzy,
yes,
you can drink even a guy under the table. And I'd be like, yeah.
Too much.
Be like, yeah, I'm a bad guy.
Yes.
So... And it would be praised. It would be like people were like, yo, let me tell you, like, you should drink with Izzy because Izzy will drink you under the table.
Yes.
Like, she's cool like that. And so now it even reinforced.
It even starts shaping the kind of people you start spending time with.
And then it reinforced that this thing must be a good thing, actually. Like, people who are saying it's a bit of a problem are clearly mistaken because look at me being popular for drinking this heavily.
Yes.
So it continued for a long time. I mean, it went downhill. I came out of uni. I got a job. Then I went to Rwanda. I worked there for a while. It was very bad there as well. People were telling me
you were not able to drink as much, or
I realized I could drink in my house.
Okay.
Yeah, that started in uni. Yes. Realizing I can drink in my house. Where people aren't seeing me. Yes. But of course, what happens is you drink a lot at home, then you go out to now have the socially acceptable amount of alcohol or drinks, but you're already drunk. You're a nuisance when you get there.
Yes.
So I drank heavily even in Rwanda. I came back. I drank heavily here. Like, that didn't stop. It just got more and more and more. I never ever stopped ever again. I would stop maybe at maximum for a month. But I don't remember ever quitting. Again, in a significant way, like I did that time of the year I spent at home before uni. And problems only increased, right?
Yes, they increased.
The workloads increased, the stress at work increased, the feeling bad relationships or feeling like you're the one who's not dating anyone. My relationship with my mom never got any better. It got better last year.
Okay.
It never got any better. It was getting worse. And of course it was being made worse by this habit.
Drinking, yeah.
Yes. She was so frustrated with me. I was so frustrated with her. We were yelling at each other constantly. I was getting into more and more and more severe depression. Like, it got chronic. What I haven't mentioned is that even from 13, I was dealing with suicidal ideation.
Okay.
Yes. So so it got worse. I remember from, I think the year between 2016 and 18, I was so highly suicidal because of my relationship with my mom. And I just kept feeling like I'm so done with feeling unwanted and unloved and being told I'm an embarrassment and why do I do this to her? And, just feeling like a burden. And I just kept wanting to end my life, like constantly. So when I lived with my sister for a bit and then I went to do my master's. During my master's, again, it was a problem. I had a friend, still my friend, who highlighted that to me. That one I didn't say, you don't understand. I just kind of decided to do that whole masking thing. So I managed to find a way not to drink as much when I was around her, but I got a group that supported that habit, came back, and now got into the final stages of the heavy alcoholism, right?
Yes.
I got into, first of all, I sat at home for a long time without a job. That really, really...
From the last job, you had been...
I didn't go to do... So I did... No. I quit go do my master's.
Okay.
When I came back after my master's, I struggled to find a job for a year.
While drinking?
Whole year, I was at home just like having my mind, feeling so worthless. Like, all that high achieving mentality. It's like,
now you're
now
zero.
what? I'm like, I have 2 degrees. I have work experience. I know I'm capable, but here I am. I can't get a job to save my life. Okay. And people are always like, oh, but your mom could have placed you. My mom's, again, the mentality I've described, that's not who she was. She educated me so that I could get a job.
She left you to
she was not going to get me placed anywhere. And she told me that, how will you learn? You have to know that you did this on your own. Like, you'll be more proud of it. A year I couldn't get a job. I ended up in Rwanda again. They were starting this new thing, and I got in, and I loved my job. I loved my job so much that drinking actually decreased.
Okay.
I was still drinking because by that point, it was just like another thing I did that day.
Yes, it was a part of you.
Yeah, the way I had to have lunch is the same way at the end of the day, I'm having drinks.
Yes.
Whether by myself or with a group, who knows, but I'm having drinks. But I really liked my job, so that helped me not drink as badly. But then, not going to even talk about or hint about politics, but the things that happened with Rwanda and Uganda happened, and I had to come back home from a job I loved, which again took me back to now the things that I dealt with in childhood of why is it every time I have achieved this thing that I have worked so hard for, that I like, that is mine, does it have to go away?
Okay.
Clearly.
So self-pity kind of.
Self-pity, but then also deciding that I was a problem.
You are a problem.
Like, you must be cursed. As in, this is why you should end your own life, because you're such a mistake. Like, every single thing doesn't work out for you. The only things that work are when you're being, you're forcing it, or you're doing it for others. So it's also, again, a blessing on them. Like there's a problem with you.
Yes.
Meanwhile, this is a whole national political thing, but I am looking at it like I have failed because I have come back home and left this job. And I'm back home. All my friends have jobs. All my friends are moving on in life. I feel now like I'm starting again.
Yes.
And that now there, the nosedive started. So this is around 2019. Okay. Nosedive starts. It didn't take me long to get a job, actually. Funnily enough, somebody had seen me in Rwanda and the work I was doing, and they were trying to start something similar here. So I was working for the Convention Bureau in Rwanda, and the my side of things was starting here. So it took maybe 6 months, 8 months to get a job.
Yes.
I got that job. But the environment at work, the toxic work environment. Okay. Which I promise you was toxic. It was not in my head because many people left their jobs in that place because of that environment. It messed with me. When you're a people pleaser and you need external validation and you're working in a place where your boss is constantly making you feel like you're nothing, constantly trying to break you, actively psychologically torturing you. You still want to please the person, but you're always breaking. Yes. I think I spent the entire 2 years I worked there, every single day I'd cry at some point in the bathroom because of this environment. So of course, what was my solution? I would have drinks after work. And it was justifiable in my head because I'm dealing with a horrible, horrible person and environment. And I'm breaking because also my high achieving thing is I'm doing the work of like 10 people. Yes. And I am delivering. And if they add even one more person's job, I am doing it too, because I must be the best. I must show that I am the best. I must show that that they were right to put me here. I deserve that job. Like, as in, I must prove my worth.
Yes.
Not that I am worthy just by being. I could not have ever thought that before now.
Yes.
So I was so justified in my drinking. I was like, it is clear that I must go and get drunk every night in order to kill the emotions and the thoughts and the feelings of the day. And I found my people, and we did that. And at that point, I didn't even know it was a problem, because we were just all doing the same thing. We'd talk about the problems of the day, of life, every day. Yeah. It was like three times a week, then every day. When COVID came, it got to the height of my drinking.
Okay.
I was dating a person who
you are not essential.
I was not essential, first of all, but the person I was dating was very encouraging of the heavy drinking.
Okay.
So, COVID, we were in lockdown, we were at home, and I think a lot of people got into drinking problems at this point.
Yes, it escalated.
Yes, because we started by trying to have a drink at night to, why the hell am I waiting till night? There's no one here. And it was then every day from morning you're drinking, right? Or at least I was. The relationship I was in was so bad, so bad. On both ends, we were both not right for each other. I was so vulnerable in the sense that I had no self-worth. So I was so willing to just accept whatever crumbs were thrown my way as love. Yes. And I too was always, I was that person who in the relationship who was like permanently doubting and doing too much and then resenting the person. And so both of us.
Oh, let's take another.
www.streamugradio.com. Mind Matters, the weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda. Sundays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Featuring real talk, real stories, real support. This is The Mind Matters on Stream UG Radio. Your life, your music.
Bill Bekunda, Stream UG Radio with Mind Matters, that comes to you every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can get us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X, or Twitter as it's still commonly called, at Stream UG Radio, all in small caps. Our WhatsApp line is +256 767 864 228. 256 767 864 228. Send in your questions and your requests, not only for this show, but for others. For those who keep on tuning in every week, I'm really grateful for your support. And we would like to answer your questions and try to get those people you want to hear from. Everybody has got a mental health story, and it is those stories we are trying to bring up. It's not only about substance use disorders, but because my background falls in that category, I'm kind of biased towards it, because a lot more needs to be known, especially about addiction. So I'm here with Isabella, Kankunda, Sabune, and the story has kind of made me quieten. Usually I'm talking a lot or laughing, interrupting people, but I'm listening keenly. And like I mentioned earlier, because, some of us have children and the world is getting a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
So here we are, Isabella, and you have reached the stage where now it seems like the complications are at another level.
Yeah.
So tell us more, because I want you to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
How bad did it get?
So, even during COVID, it had gotten very bad. I was drinking blackout drunk every day.
Yes.
And from the time I discovered hard liquor, I stopped doing anything considered soft, right?
Yes.
So I'm drinking gin. I'm drinking gin, and I'm drinking a lot of gin, and I'm drinking it enough to black out every day in COVID. But of course, that's because I'm dealing with the underlying issue. I'm not dealing with the underlying issues, right? That have just been piling on. So COVID comes, I'm still in this job that's about to that's breaking me mentally. I was in such a bad mental health, mental headspace in that job. I'm dealing with a relationship that I fought so hard to be in and alienated everyone in my life, including my family, because they didn't approve. And I'm realizing it's not healthy and it's not good. And I am stuck and I don't know how to get out and I'm not okay. And then I'm dealing with just kind of this feeling that had become my normal of, oh my goodness, I wish I wasn't alive. And all of that it's gradually and continuously getting worse.
So did you attempt to
at that time
go through with suicide?
Not that time.
Okay.
I was always very highly thinking about it and highly suicidal, but I never went through with it. I always thought, what will it do to my mom? What will it do to my sister? What will it do to her kids?
It was never about you.
Never about me. I didn't care. And I always used to think, I wish these guys could just give me the approval to do it. Because I used to tell my sister when I'd get into these headspaces and, she'd talk me off the ledge and I'd just think, I just wish she'd just say, just do it. Because then at least I'd have permission.
Yes.
And I think one of her biggest regrets is that eventually one time, many years later, when I did attempt, she did say those words. And it wasn't because of her. By that point, I'd already made up my mind. She was tired of it. And I had really gone down the dark hole of alcoholism.
What did you try?
I do not ever say what I did because I wouldn't want anyone who is in that headspace to think that is what they should do.
That it's also an alternative.
It's an alternative.
Yeah.
What I can say is that I tried and it didn't work.
It didn't work. Yes.
And honestly, if you're in that headspace, please, just
Get
Google.
help.
Yeah, just Google the mental health helpline. You'll get a number. Call them. There are people who are permanently available to talk to you. There's also Heart to Heart Spaces has started 24-hour, 7 days a week helpline. Yes. So please reach out there. You don't have to go through this alone, and you do. Your life is worthy.
Heart to Heart Spaces. That's what you.
That's not what I do.
Oh, that's
Rita.
Rita.
Yes,
Uma.
yes.
Yeah.
So I love what she's doing. Like she's one of my idols in this space. Yes. I love what she's doing. I resonate so much. So anyway, I went through those times and I was really not okay. And I was just not talking about it anymore. Again, I was feeling very alone because I'd alienated so many people. Then in 2021, towards the end of 2021, in December, I realized I had to end my relationship because I was very unsafe. I was very scared of the person. I knew that what it had become was abusive, both mentally and physically. And I was so afraid that I went to a wedding with my mom in Kenya just so I could be away from the country in order to break up with this person. And I did. But what people don't realize is that even when you end a relationship like that, you don't, I tried to move on and pretend it was okay, but you can't because you're mourning what could have been. You're mourning.
And there was
at one point there was good in it. So
and the attachment.
Yes. So you're mourning all of that, but because I felt like everyone was clapping for me so loudly for making this decision finally, and that I'd had the courage to do it myself, I felt I had to just move on. So I suppressed that as well. I didn't deal with it. In that year, I also lost my first cousin who I grew up with as a brother. He passed away in an accident that I had 3 months before him and walked away from. He died.
Sorry about that.
So these were now the big things that were happening to lead me towards literally having to go to rehab to get help. And again, because I was very suicidal at the time, I didn't understand why me who kept asking God to take me.
You were the one being left behind.
Yes, let me walk away. And this boy who I always say this in my story was, in my opinion, the definition of what a person who deserves to live should look like, be like he was just life personified. He was so beloved and it was well earned because he was like that. And he dies. And I think, what is this? So I had survivor's guilt, even if I was never in the car with him.
Yes.
Because I just didn't think he deserved to have gone. But I didn't deal with it. I was very, very, very depressed for a long time, and I didn't talk for a long time, and I wasn't okay right after his death. But I thought in my head, I thought, I'm going to deal with this because I should be so happy and lucky and glad to be alive. I'm going to drink extremely heavily, so I'm not feeling anymore. I'm going to start prescription medication because the alcohol wasn't working at that point either. This is 2021.
Okay.
And I'm just going to throw myself into work really, really hard. Unfortunately, work wasn't there. So I was throwing myself into trying to do projects here and there, and they weren't working. But in 2022, I got a job. I was so desperate for a job by that time and so desperate for the distraction that I entered it in full-fledged over.
Now, the room has the lights almost dimmed. This is a very dark space.
Yes, very dark space.
Yes.
So anyway, I get that job. I go into it overachieving. I feel overwhelmed. I am extremely overwhelmed, extremely anxious. I'm drinking all the time at this point. I'm drinking every day, but it was about halfway through 2022 that I started drinking all day. Into 2020, not all day, maybe halfway through the day, 2023, that year, I got into full-blown active addiction. I was drinking all day, every day. Okay. I had to drink to get to work, and it was because I was extremely depressed, extremely. I was extremely overwhelmed, I was extremely anxious. Anyway, that's the year I did try to take my own life, and it was at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, after two big events that I had done back to back, actually, consequently, like they were at the same time, but I had planned them. And I was just done. I was so done. I'd already asked for help. I randomly said this in a conversation with my aunt, like I need help, and she had a number of somebody. And I had been talking to him for 3 months, but making every excuse under the sun not to go. But in December, when I actually fully decided and attempted, like wrote notes, packed up things, attempted, and it didn't work. I was just like, okay, clearly I need to just sober up in order for me to try again, because what I've tried hasn't worked, because there's too much alcohol in my body.
Yes.
And I really thought, throughout my whole life, by the way, I see God. I'm very, very, I'm a strong Christian. I'm a believer in God. I see him in my life. But I was telling him at this point, like, you think you're so clever. I'm gonna go get sober and then try again. You think you're so clever.
Yes.
So the number of the person I'd got was in India. Jumped on a plane to a country I'd never been to go to rehab. Again, privilege I'm very lucky to have, but honestly, 6 months in a good rehab here is about 2 months there. So if you can afford it, you can also go there.
Yes.
I go to rehab, and 10 days in, they put me in like a fireside chat. They put me in the middle of a circle, and they tell me you're going to share, and you're going to share something real. At that point, I started resonating with people, but I still wasn't convinced on the recovery or on the getting sober and staying sober.
Okay.
But after that share, it was like I unlocked something. It was like a tap opened that couldn't be stopped. And I just started sharing everything, and I just started talking about everything. The way I've talked about it now, like all the things I've described, but I talked about the feelings and the emotions, and walked that journey through my life. I sat with my demons.
Yes.
I sat with my demons, and I actually confronted them, and then I let them go. And I realized that with every share, every time I confronted a demon, I spoke it out loud, and I let it go. It released something. Okay. It made space, and I started to feel like I could breathe again. And I started to feel like I could see light and color again. And I decided, oh my goodness, you know what? I want to do this.
Okay.
I want to get sober.
That was your first time in rehab?
That was my first time.
Yes.
So I'm very lucky, and I continue one day at a time praying. But yeah, I feel like it was that process, the emotional sobriety, as I refer to it, but I think it's also a common term in the recovery space. The emotional sobriety for me was way deeper, way stronger, way more the reason I am sober, but also I felt like I wanted to do the sobriety thing. I wanted to be sober. I wanted to discover who I am, because I realized while I was there for 2 months, and I realized I didn't know who I was. Yes. I didn't even know what my favorite food was. We had a group session where they were asking favorite colors, favorite food, and I was like, I don't know.
Wow.
Because I've always just, my favorite thing has been what my favorite person's thing has been, you know?
Okay.
So my favorite food was my favorite person's food currently, or whoever it was at that point. My favorite color was determined by being told you're now too old to like. My favorite color is hot pink, but at some point I was told you're too old for that to be your favorite
pink
color.
now, yes.
So I changed it, and it was green and blue and purple, but I didn't like any of these things. So I was discovering me. I am a version of myself now that I've never been before.
Okay.
And I discovered so many things about myself. I got a diagnosis from a psychiatrist at the time for ADHD as well, and it explained a lot of how my brain worked. And I started to understand myself, and it's not my identity. I very rarely talk a lot about it. I just mention it because it's part of my journey. But it explained a lot, and it helped in the healing. So when I came back, of course I was shaky. You know, you come out of that bubble, you come back to everything that was triggering you, because that doesn't change. The world doesn't stop welding because you are in rehab.
Exactly.
It does not. And it is not any kinder to you because you've gone through this. If anything, it's a bit harsher.
It's harder.
Yeah, it's more judgmental. So I wasn't even sharing my journey for that first year with anybody. Well, for the first 8 months with anybody. After 8 months, I started telling people in my life, my friends and my family, and being very vocal about it, and, you know, going to events. And after 8 months is when I could fully go to an event and saying, I don't drink because I'm a recovering alcoholic, like not because I'm just being stubborn, or no, like I can't, because my first drink for me is my worst drink. It is my worst decision. It takes just one, you know, and explaining this to people and seeing how they were reacting and realizing, you know what? They might be those who judge because they have been, but actually people need to hear this. People need to hear someone say, recovery looks like me. First of all, addiction looks like me. And my and all the privilege in the world, it looks like me too, because it's non-discriminatory. But recovery also looks like me. It looks like somebody who has decided to own their demons, to own their worst thoughts, to understand that doesn't define them. Even their worst mistakes and worst moments don't define them. Their past is not a life sentence, you know? It also looks like me. It looks like me owning it loudly, proudly, being sober out loud. It looks like understanding that, and I think I shared this in another group somewhere, in a closed sort of group, and I said, people think recovery and sobriety is horrible and it is hard, because they're like, but
and
nothing,
boring.
but nothing changes though, nothing changes. All the stuff that still affected you, the hard things, the bad things, they still happen. Nothing changes. And I'm like, but how you react to them is what should change, is what changes. And that's recovery.
Yes.
It's and that's also healing, you know. If you want to talk about it in a mental health term, it's also healing. It's understanding that your triggers are still going to be there.
Yes.
The hard things are still going to be there. The nasty people, places, situations are going to be there. But you learn how to handle them better.
Yes.
You learn that there's a better way to handle them. You also learn that it's okay for them to happen. Because a lot of the suppressing and the numbing was thinking it's not okay. You know, in rehab, my therapist spent 2 months trying to get me to understand, 2 months trying to get me to understand that anger is just another emotion. And it's okay for me to have it.
Exactly.
Because I'd grown up in this society, especially, anger is actually like
criminal.
A sin. Like, what do you mean you're angry? You shouldn't be angry. Don't be angry. Smile. Don't.
Exactly.
And I'm like, it's just another emotion.
Yes.
We're human beings with a very, very broad spectrum of emotions, and it's okay to feel all of them. What shouldn't happen, and where the problem is when you get stuck.
Yes.
And getting stuck there is because, again, you've been told you shouldn't feel that emotion.
True.
Or you don't know how to get out of that emotion. And yet maybe feeling it is the only way to get out of it.
True.
Sitting in a dark room and crying because you just feel overwhelmed with life, even if you don't understand why. Because you look around and you think, I have everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. For you, you're overwhelmed. Whatever it is in your life that is happening at that point is overwhelming you, and that's okay. Do not judge. You're not the guy, like, not to sound crass, but you're not the child on the street begging. Yes, you're in your air-conditioned car with a job and food and a house, but you feel like you have an elephant sitting on your chest and you want to cry.
Yes.
And you think, oh, but I'm not that child, so I shouldn't. Sit in the room and cry, because whatever it is that's making you feel that way is valid.
Yes.
Your emotions are valid, no matter what you might think they are compared to. First of all, comparison in itself is another thing we have in society, not just Africa. We compare ourselves and we think, I'm worse off, I'm better off. No, you're valid.
You're valid.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Mind
This journey, the journey of recovery is really...
It's something
It is something, yes.
Yeah.
Before I cut you off for these advertisements, you are still saying something?
Yeah, I was saying, so I was,
Yes.
yeah, I was saying, I'd reached a point where I was saying, that coming to understand, healing and recovery is coming to understand that everything, like your emotions, your feelings, your experiences, they're all valid.
They're all valid. True.
Comparing it to somebody worse off than you or better off than you doesn't help you in any way.
At all.
You look at your situation and just be in your present. Be in your own present. Do not look around. There's a lot of, another part of me being very vocal about it beyond that, beyond trying to show you a different face to this journey, because there's also a face tied to the addiction and recovery space. It is that there's that person that a lot of people like to say musicians who have gone off the rails, but there's that face, and actually it can look like anyone and be anyone.
True.
And it's possible, but it's also, I also want people to know that we're currently, we talked about parents who might be listening in. We're currently living in a time where social media has taken over, and it's giving young, the Gen Zs and Alphas and below, it's giving them this pressure to be like the people they're seeing online. The things that, not understanding that that's a moment in someone's life. And that is creating more and more depression and more mental health issues in the younger generations. That's how it's starting. So it's to be in a space to be able to communicate wide and large about don't compare yourself. That is also how things like my own things of low self-esteem, of low self-worth, of thinking I've failed even when I haven't. That's why it also starts, because it was a comparison. I was comparing myself to people around me, and that's not necessary. Like, live in your present.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to do in this space, in the recovery and addiction space that I mentioned at the beginning, apart from becoming a licensed therapist for this, is also to create awareness. I keep saying, people say, people who are commenting in the beginning of, you're shaking tables. I said, I don't intend to shake tables. I want to break them.
Yes.
I want them to break, because we are tired.
And burn them.
Yes. We're tired of the stigma attached to mental health. We're tired of the stigma attached to addiction. We're tired because, that's why people are dying in silence.
Yes.
So I want to break those tables.
So let's this, I thought, I always tell people I thought 2 hours was too long, but no time is enough.
Yeah.
Now, you went to rehab once and that was it?
That was it for me.
Okay.
And God is my strength, it will be the only time.
We are very grateful for that, because I also did go once, and I'm also grateful for that.
Yes.
But we do have a number of people who have come in and they'll tell you they've been through it
many times.
Some never had to go through rehab.
Yes.
And you see, at the end of the day, we like to explain, because I've had people who run rehabilitation centers here also trying to explain. And they also mention that rehabilitation is not the only way.
No.
It could be a safe way, but not everybody can afford it.
Yes.
So if you're fortunate, like you said, you could go to India, others can go to South Africa.
Yeah.
I have a friend who
Uganda.
went to Hazelden, but the same thing when he came back, he's like, he had gone there to learn how to drink normally.
Yeah.
And he came back with the same answer I had given him that it's not possible.
Yeah.
So here you are. You beat that one, and the footsteps you're taking, they say when you go in a certain direction, you find what you're looking for there.
Yes.
So when you're in the journey to understand it more, you find more healing as well there.
Yeah.
So what are you practically doing right now? Because apart from sharing the story, which keeps me accountable to self and others. Yeah. How are you managing to keep yourself sober and to help others at the same time?
So for me, a big part has been in therapy, and not just individual, which I do. Again, I'm lucky enough to do that. I know that most people can't. Although there is affordable therapy in the country, but it's also through things like conversation clinics that are community therapy or group therapy.
Yes.
Those happen. So I'm part of an initiative called Deeper Connection Initiative that holds conversation clinics for free.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, so it's new. We're trying to promote and developed toolkit for kind of self-therapy or self-led group therapy through a card game, which it's a question. They're like question cards, and you ask a group, and then they open up the sharing. They create a safe space. So there's that toolkit. That one is for purchase, but now there are the conversation clinics that have happened all year round, the last Thursday of the month. We had our last one, so we'll start again in January. But you can follow the pages on social media for Utali Creative, UTALII Creative, that promote these clinics when they're happening. There is free group therapy that happens at safe places in Chambogo that are AA and NA meetings. Again, I'm part of those as well. The ones at safe places I haven't actually been physically, but I am part of other physical meetings. I do that as well to keep on track, because it's a place where you come and you hear shared stories of other people in the struggle, right? And that keeps you accountable. You go to a meeting and you hear somebody who's come for the first time and you remember yourself.
Exactly.
And you're like, okay, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm staying on this side of this fence.
Yes.
I also try very hard to understand. I've tried very hard to understand my limits and my boundaries. Something I've worked on for 2 years in therapy, but it has helped me as well stay sober and stay emotionally regulated, I guess is the word. I became, for the first year, I did this thing where people never used to understand it, but I became very selfish, and it's something you're encouraged out of rehab to become very selfish. It is a selfish
program, recovery.
Yes. To become very selfish. So my recovery comes first. Comes before everything and everyone. And I do it intentionally even until now. So if I'm pushing myself too hard and it is actually not because of anything benefiting me, I'm doing it because I'm again getting into those bad cycles.
Yes.
I understand that. So I remain very accountable to myself through many different angles. I do outreach to keep very accountable to self and others. But I also do meetings. I do group therapy. I do individual therapy. And I journal, I do art when to distract my mind from maybe too much thinking.
Yes.
I share with even my closest people. I don't have to be in therapy. I talk to friends and family. I do things I like. I cook. I spend time with my niece and nephew. I try to make my life as enjoyable but peaceful as I can.
Safely.
Yes, safely.
And that leads to a question now actually that came in.
Yeah.
And someone is asking, are you happier now than you were when you're drinking? 100%. Because people don't understand it. And I have friends who tell me, Bill, your life is boring.
Right. And I don't understand why anyone thinks that. Like, guys, let me be very honest with you guys, and let me be very clear. It is so much fun on this side of the fence. Recovery is not boring. Not drinking has made my life fuller and funner, because I don't think I've said it yet, but I see life in 4D, not 3D. Like everything it's brighter, it's more enjoyable. Everything I do, even eating food, is more enjoyable now.
True.
Hanging out, let me tell you, like when you are sober, people think you can't hang out. You are encouraged not to in the first year of your recovery, and please don't. But once you can safely hang out with people, once you can do it without feeling triggered or wanting to have a drink, it's more fun. Like, let me tell you, I have more fun now. And I enjoy everything I do more now than I ever did before. In fact, I don't even think I ever enjoyed it before.
Yes, I like telling people that these days I can hear the music, I can see. When you go to Ekwanjula, you can actually enjoy the conversation that's going on.
Like, I know so many weddings I went to, some of my closest friends' weddings. I can't for the life of me tell you exactly what was happening there.
Yes.
I remember our table with the drinks. I was so absent. Then I went to my cousin's wedding last year in August, and You guys, I had so much fun. I listened to the speeches and I laughed because I was hearing the speeches.
Yes.
I enjoyed the deco. I enjoyed the people I was sitting with. I enjoyed myself.
True. There are so many questions here, but many of them you've already answered.
Okay.
And so I'll just tell people, please listen to this again. What finally pushed you to seek help?
Yeah.
How long have you been sober? I think this one wants a specific answer. How long have you been sober?
So I've been sober because I'm not going to count it until next week. I've been sober 1 year and 11 months.
Okay.
Next week on December 19th, the week after, I will be 2 years sober.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 years sober. What was the most difficult moment? What is the most difficult moment in your recovery journey so far?
It was coming back home. I'm not even going to lie. For me, that was the hardest.
From treatment?
Yes, because I came back and those first days, the world was coming at me fast and loud and hard. So I went back to work immediately. All the triggers at work were still there.
Yes.
I went back. I had to move in with my mom because, I'd been highly suicidal. Well, I'd attempted to take my life before. So I wasn't allowed to live alone. So I went in to live with my mom and I had to rediscover not rediscover, what am I even saying? I had to discover how to set boundaries with my mom.
Yes.
How to say no. How to say I don't want to see people. And people come and I stay in the room, And that was hard because it was like watching a calf trying to walk for the first time. Yeah.
Yes.
That was the hardest part.
And here you are.
And here I am.
And here you are.
And here I am.
Life has more meaning today than it had yesterday.
Yeah, it does.
What can you say to encourage somebody
that's going through it?
That's going through it right now. So, and you see there is both the person and there is the family.
The family, yes.
Yes.
One, you might not feel like there's help, but there is. This is to both the family and the individual.
Yes.
And I promise you, if you just pick up that phone and make an appointment, your journey to recovery begins. True. It won't be easy, but it's worth it. And to the still suffering addict, alcoholic, this saying is from AA. You alone can walk this journey, but you don't have to walk it alone. Yeah. There are so many people who have gone through or are going through the same thing, and they will hold your hand. Like the community is big. Yes. And AA, again, if you just go on Google and you type in AA Uganda, you'll find so many meetings. You'll be so surprised.
Yes.
And all you have to do is walk in to a meeting that first time, you will see they help because your story.
How have they helped you? So that they can get an idea.
In all honesty, it's by realizing every time, even now, in almost 2 years, you realize every time you go that you're hearing your story through someone else's mouth.
Exactly.
They are using their name, someone you've never seen. And if you don't believe me, because you think maybe Ugandans, we have similarities, look for an online global meeting. Like go to the AA platform that is global and look for an online, and you'll hear somebody, this hasn't happened, but I'm just trying to make it as an example. Maybe let me make it realistic. You'll hear somebody in Hawaii, because I've been to a meeting that was online in Hawaii,
yes,
telling a story of their life that is your story.
Exactly like
But they were in Hawaii. You've never met them. You've never even been to Hawaii.
The first time I went for an AA meeting, I found people well-dressed, suited up, ties.
Yeah.
Others, of course, dressed in jeans and T-shirts. But I was like, what are these guys in ties doing? Like, they look like...
Yeah.
Then when we are going out, I was looking for transport, one person, and guys are sitting in Land Cruisers, and I'm like, okay, what's happening here? How can these people be, because I didn't understand it. I was fresh from rehabilitation. So we say addictions or substance use disorders are equal opportunity diseases.
Yes.
They don't care that you could travel the world.
Yes, they don't.
UK, where you have 2 degrees.
Nothing.
It takes you down.
Yeah.
Don't care that you're a woman or a man.
No. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't care that you're the CEO of a company.
Give people hope. Give people hope for the future.
Guys, it's so possible. And again, because it's an equal opportunity disease, recovery is also equal opportunity. Exactly. So if I can do it, if Bill can do it, if somebody else we've never met can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
It is it is not easy, but it is beyond worth it.
Exactly.
And it is possible.
And we are here.
And we're here to, yes, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're being sober out loud, so that the one who is still struggling in silence knows it is possible.
And there are so many people that listen in that are struggling, and they send me messages on the side.
Yeah.
But there's denial.
There's so much denial. And it's it's justified.
How can someone beat denial? Maybe you'll be more convincing than I am.
No, it's honestly, I don't know, but I feel like it's owning it,
Yes.
It's accepting. The first step is acceptance. You have to accept you have a problem. Be okay with the fact that you have a problem. And the only way I can, again, reiterate that it's okay that you have a problem.
Yes.
There are thousands, millions, hundreds of millions in the world that are struggling with the same problem. Exact same problem. So it's okay to have a problem. It's okay to accept it. It's okay to acknowledge it.
Yes.
And then it's okay. It is the strong thing, not the weak thing like we've been led to believe, to ask for help.
Let me ask this one now. Because people fear, they fear to acknowledge. How do I accept that I am an alcoholic? I have this problem. And what will it do to me? It's going to damage me. How do I say I went to rehab? People will. How come it hasn't done that to you? In fact, it has made you more bold, as opposed to giving you more stigma.
Yeah. And again, in accepting,
yes,
in acknowledging, in finally saying it and owning it, like not the fact that I am a recovery, not the fact that I was an alcoholic, that I was struggling, that I did things in that addiction journey. In acknowledging that I'm in recovery, like I was brave enough. How brave was I to seek help? How brave was I to go and get that help? And also, how brave am I to be here, making sure every day that I'm doing my best to make sure that day is a sober day. It's a win. Like, guys, let me tell you something. It is very hard to get to acceptance. But if anything I've said today has resonated, please go to that first meeting, reach out for help, because if you can identify with my story, the problem is already there. And the bravest thing, the best thing you can do for yourself is accept it and seek help. It's so brave, guys. I promise you. And that's why I'm so loud about it. And I'm so strong and like almost passionate about the fact that I'm a recovering alcoholic, because it's so brave. Like, I'm like so proud of myself. So proud of myself. It brought it brought healing to so many broken parts of myself to accept.
True. And I think I will put on our link and on our page how to get to you. For the podcast, we didn't have time for that.
We didn't have time for all that.
We'll find another time for you to come by and have more of encouragement to people. Because at least now the story is out. We know it's going to touch so many people, especially